Okay, so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to set up basically a really nice cage for steppe runners. They're these really neat little lizards that are kind of like little miniature tegus. They're really friendly. They're friendly. They're personable. They're really funny little lizards. They're easy to keep, easy to set up. What I'm going to set up here is going to be actually kind of a more deluxe setup because they burrow and dig and they're super, super active, so they'll really take advantage of all the space that you give them. So what I'm going to do first is I'm actually just going to leave this background in because it looks neat and the lizards will actually climb up it. For substrate, I'm going to use sand. These are actually lizards from the Ukraine and they live in, honestly, a really dry, sandy area. So putting sand in the cage is actually not a bad idea. I'm also going to be mixing it with excavator sand or excavator clay so that when it gets wet, it'll actually start to form burrows in the cage that they excavate themselves. Which, in the end, should look really, really neat. So there's one bag. Now, unfortunately, because this cage is so big, because this cage is big, it's going to require a lot of sand. So this is 10 pounds, just enough to cover the bottom. And I would put in 10 pounds of excavator. This is one of my favorite products for desert-dwelling animals that dig and burrow and take advantage of all that kind of stuff in the wild, at least in truly desert areas. You don't want to use this stuff for like bearded dragons just because it's a little too dry and it will cause problems for a beardy. But for something like steppe runners, for sandfish, for maybe not sandfish, there's some good sand. But excavator is great for steppe and frog-eye geckos, for, again, obviously for the steppe runners, but there's a lot of applications for this. It actually works really good for your mastics too, because they also are a very dry desert dweller. Mix it all up with the sand. And what I like to do is usually pile the sand towards the back because you really don't need a ton of it up front. And that gives them more area to burrow in further back. And we'll add a last little 5 pounds. A little bit more decorative here. Before I go too crazy, give them a cave to hide in. That right there. There we go. And that looks neat, like it was in there to begin with. And then what I'm also going to do is use one of these magnetic tapes attached to the side so they can get up nice and close to their basking spot. Magnets on these are nice and strong. They're also nice and natural looking, so it won't look like plastic things. What you should know by now is my favorite thing, stack cord. Then to climb in. The water bowl will have this nice sandy colored lagoon. There we go. Let's see. Looks terrible. That's what happens when you set it up from behind. That looks cooler. Do that. that's our completed setup. And now we found the lid. So you can see they've got tons of places to hide and climb, which is important. Right. So basically we've given them plenty of places to climb and hide. All of these surfaces here aren't just things in the way of the animals to live in. These are also things that they can climb on. So what you're doing is not only is there space underneath for them to climb and hide, but there's all the space on top. So by putting all these flat surfaces in here, it not only makes the cage look visually more interesting, but it also gives the lizards this many more places to climb on. So it's not that the cage is cluttered, you're actually doubling the amount of floor space for the animals to climb on. So it's important to think of it not just as you're putting stuff in the way here, it's actually extra things for them to climb on, which makes their lives more enriched and actually leads to healthier, happier animals. So again, you're not cramming it full of stuff, you're actually providing them with an environment, an actual place for them to hide and climb and basically do all kinds of fun lizard things. So there's all of that. Now we put the lid back on. And that goes there. These have these nice little things to lock it. And now the part of lighting. Some keepers say that you don't need UVB for them. Some keepers say you do. I like to err on the side of caution, especially with animals that still have relatively little in the way of care sheets and information for them online. So, especially since this is also going to be a display cage for them, I'm going to set this up with plenty of light and a really nice little setup just to make the cage look nice, to illuminate the lizards, and to give them the option to seek out heat and UVB as they desire. So we're going to do... Okay, so I've got a couple of Zoom Med 5.0 UVB bulbs in there. These are basically bulbs that are going to provide UVB down to, usable UVB down to about here, which, when we look, we actually have multiple basking areas that are going to be close enough to the UV that they're going to be able to get UV if they so desire. So it's enough to brighten up the cage to light it up so you can see your animals, but it's not so much UVB that your little lizards, if they don't need UVB, can't escape it easily. Actually, what we're going to do is scoot this up to the front half of the cage, and they can still get close to it, the light will still hit up there, but what we're going to do is on this other side, is we're going to set our Zoom Med Mini Double Deep Dome, which just fits snugly diagonally here in the back corner. And what we're going to put in here are the heat lights. And what I'm going to be using is a 75-watt basking bulb, just because when they climb up close to the light, they'll be able to get to basking temperatures easily in the 90s. If they get really, really close, like to the very top, it might even approach close to 100. That's fine. As long as down here over on the pool side, it stays below 80. Giving them that range of temperatures is important for them to really thrive and do well. And it's the easiest way to basically have your animals do the best that they really can, is to provide them with as wide a range of temperatures as possible, especially desert-dwelling, dry, arid species such as steppe runners. And then just for nighttime heat, I'm using a 60-watt red bulb, and it's just to make sure the entire cage doesn't get too cold. The pool side is still going to be room temperature, and with summer coming up, you may not even need a nighttime heat bulb. They just need to be in the mid to high 70s, if not maybe 82 to 84 at night. It doesn't need to be anything too terribly crazy warm. But depending on where you are, it may not be that warm at night. I know here in Southern California, it usually is, so we don't even think about it. But if you're in, say, Alaska or North Dakota, maybe not the case. So. And then there's always the very important thermometer. Okay, so one of the cool things about the Exoterra products is they come with these little tracks in them, so you can actually just slide the thermometer right in the top. And it goes in just like that. And you can set it wherever you want along the top, whatever is easiest for you. And then just put your probe along the back. The Exoterra cages do come with these neat little notches here that you can slide this to cover so crickets don't escape. And that's an easy way to feed the probe into the cage in the most visually appealing way possible. So you can end up putting the probe wherever you need to in the cage. Basically, you can check the warm side, cool side. That's one of the nice things about having a thermometer with a probe in it. And then that's it. This is pretty much how you're going to set up a steppe runner. It's honestly, to me, it seems kind of basic, but for the average steppe runner, for considering how small little babies are, there's going to be plenty. You can add cactuses, you can add live cactus, fake cactus, all kinds of things. Put a little guy in here. And then steppe runners are these adorable little lizards. Almost all of them available are captive bred. They're really easy to breed once you get a pair established and going. They're super cute. And as you can see, completely unafraid of people. As they get bigger, males develop these tiny little jowls, females less so. And they honestly get to a point where they'll come up and eat out of your hands. They'll sit calmly in your hands like this if you want to handle them once in a while. You can interact with them just in the cage. They're really outgoing, smart little lizards, and they don't mind people at all. So it's one of the reasons they're so enjoyable to have as pets. You can see the little guy checking out the camera. So there's one, and we'll put two in here just for giggles, because it's big enough for a pair to live in there. So there we go. So here's another little friend, also unafraid. There you go, buddy.
He's like, no, I don't want to go.
Yeah. So this again is one of the more enjoyable parts of keeping them, is that they really don't mind being interacted with. So if you want to order everything you see in this video, you can go ahead and visit our website at www.LLLReptile.com. And then make sure you sign up for the Reptile Times, which is full of informative articles featuring articles about animals like steppe runners, which don't often have detailed care sheets available for them. So you can always visit our website. You can always sign up for the Times and get free articles telling you about less common animals like these little adorable little steppe runners. And there you have it. That is how to set up a steppe runner. If you have any questions, any comments, anything like that, feel free to visit our website or check out our Facebook page, which is going to be facebook.com/LLLReptile.